Hi there. Hi, everybody. I am going to give like 2 minutes for everybody to come on in. We do have a very packed schedule today. So I do want to make sure that we get enough time in so that way you guys can ask questions and everything. But while we're waiting, I would just like to introduce our first person, Melissa Bondi with CTN, is going to be talking to you today for the first half. Second half will be IT and a bunch of different folks there, which they will introduce themselves whenever they get here. So honestly, I'd say let's just start. This is a recorded thing, so we'll be able to see it. So Melissa, whenever you're ready, it's all you.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. I'll start the presentation. Um, Hello, everyone. Good evening again. My name is Melissa Bondi. I am the assistant manager over at CTN Community Television Network out here on Industrial Highway. If you guys know where we are. I have real quick. I've been with CTN now 12 years, so it's seen a lot of change, a lot of growth. Met a lot of people over the years. Done a little bit of everything as far as working with city employees, local dignitaries, the public, nonprofits. So I've worked with a lot of different folks over the years in different capacities. So we're going to review that this evening. Should have a entertaining slideshow for you. I won't take up too much of your time, but we will begin. And again, I believe there's questions at the end, Sarah. So if you have anything, just be sure to take them into account. And if there's anything I can't answer, I will certainly get back with Sarah or any of you folks via email or phone in the next couple days. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. So CTN was established in 1973, so we just had our 50th year last year.
Melissa, sorry. It doesn't look like we can see anything.
Oh, hold on. Okay.
Perfect. Awesome.
I swapped it. Okay, great. Okay, yes, so we just celebrated our 50th year here at CTN. And we are considered a PEG station. If you don't know what that is, it stands for Public Education and Government. So we are a PEG station. There's other stations around the country and the state that are considered maybe just a P, maybe just an E, maybe an E and G, a public education or government station. And we are fortunately all three. So I will go over some of our channels so you guys can understand a little bit more about what that entails. So here at CTN, we have our core services. So we're a TV studio. We teach media production workshops, but we also do a lot more. And that includes operate and program our 4 channels. We'll go over those. We provide coverage for city meetings and events throughout the year, all around Washtenaw County and even a little bit beyond, generally in the Ann Arbor area. We promote nonprofits. I've worked with hundreds of them over the year. So over the years, we do that in all different capacities as far as featuring them on our programs, coming out to events, putting up a simple EBB, a bulletin board on an upcoming event of theirs, or promoting something. So lots of different ways we work with nonprofits. Election years, big year for CTN. We do a lot for legal and the voters, candidate comments. So we do all sorts of election programming. We'll dedicate certain months to recording, and then a certain, obviously as it gets closer to election time, we're going to play more election focused, programming around that time. So election years are really big, but we do a lot. And even for folks who may not do something with us per se at our studio, they may have programming that they want to turn into CTN. They've done it on their own, but they want to, use CTN as a marketing tool for their for a campaign or a candidate. We also we go over our production facilities, so our studios, and then we offer media production workshops. go along with the studios and the other equipment that we have. So these are our core services here at CTN. Go back to our cable channels. So we have 4 cable channels, as I mentioned, the PEG, Public Education and Government. 16 is our government meetings and our CTN series. So things that our staff produce in-house, typically will all run on channel 16, that's designated as the government channel. And then we have public access channel 17. So this is what I call your channel. So this is the public's channel. So we don't do any programming, we need staff, the city, we don't do any of the programming that goes on channel 17. It's simply your channel, the public's channel. Channel 18, the government, our educational channel. So that one, there's still a lot of educational programs. So that can be anywhere from, we playback programs from UCTV out in California, all the way, to the local universities here, to Eastern. We have Concordia, Washington Community College, U of M, all of them provide programs in some capacity, as well as it's considered educational, such as a language learning program or a cooking show that generally tends to go on channel 18. Channel 19 is our community bulletin board. So that runs 24/7. It's a bulletin board, a front bulletin board, EBD, like really and you can submit messages. And generally they're nonprofit, non-commercial messaging that go on the community bulletin board. And that can be submitted through our website, can be done through email. We'll go over some of the EVs shortly too. I'll give you some examples. But that runs 24/7, as well as it also runs on the other channels, however, that'll run in between the program. For channel 19, it's only 24/7. We're also carried on AT&T, so folks who have AT&T, channel 99. So if you go to the menu and the government programming, I believe you'll come to a listing. I'll have all the municipalities, I think in the Detroit metro area, and we're right at the top, it's alphabetical. And you'll click CTN, I believe CTN or City of Ann Arbor, and you will see the program, the same programming that you would see on Comcast channel 16. So that's the agreement that 99 had, or AT&T channel 99 had, has been able to carry one of our channels to channel 16. So folks who have 99, AT&T 99, channel 99 can view what the same programming that is on CTN Comcast channel 16. But it's pretty easy to navigate. Now we have our online channels. So we're on cable and we're also online. That's part of the growth that I've seen. When I started, I don't believe we were fully online way back when things, streaming and video on demand, all of that had just started in the industry, really. So we have now got, the beauty of it is that folks who don't have cable, cut the cord, you can still watch all of our programs live. That includes the live stream, video on demand, watch your leisure, and then what I like to call our YouTube channel, our 5th channel, is the YouTube channel that I manage. So all of our programs, and when I say all of ours, I'm referring to CTN programs and meetings are all the YouTube channel. And we also stream the city meeting live on our website as well as live on our YouTube channel. So we have 2 different ways to watch. Technically 3, if you're or cable is the other option. If you don't have cable, you can always go on. And also, I want to mention that we also are on an app. So some folks don't know, but if you get the CableCast app, which I have on my phone because I don't live in the area, so sometimes when I want to check the channels, I'll do it from my smartphone and I'll go into the CableCast app and I can see our channels all streaming in HD on my phone in the app. And we're also on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. So again, I believe on all of those, and I've done it before, it's been a while since I've been on those apps, but you can look for the CableCast app. The directions are on our website too, if you were to want to look up these apps to stream any of our channels as well. A lot of folks ask about viewership. Viewership. Okay, who's watching? Who's watching CTN? Who watches community television network? Who watches public access TV? And believe it or not, um, as more folks do get away from the traditional days of cable and flipping, scrolling through your channels at late at night or in the day, a lot of times people are looking for something more specific. But fortunately, we do have the information and know that our channels are carried out in Arbor, in Arbor Township, Ypsilanti Township, parts of Scioto, Pittsfield, and again in Channel 99. So AT&T and both Comcast hold that information tight, so they're not very close-lipped as far as viewership and how many subscribers. So I've done the math over the years. We work with them as far as finding out those numbers because people want to know, what your penetration rate is, what your audience is. So they have given us a number, and this is back early in the COVID run, right around 2020, when we actually saw an influx of people turning to CTN to get their programming out. But so they're saying right around 60,000 as far as subscribers in the area, and that's just on, again, just in people. So folks who are watching online, a lot of times we know by hits, the analytics through our YouTube channel, through our video on demand site, our playback. So we can see as far as, when folks are watching and how often, but to get the real ratings, we don't have that information just in general, as far as any of the stations, as far as I know, throughout the country don't track that as far as like a commercial station would, because we don't do any advertising. So we're all nonprofit, not commercial, so we don't have to, track those ratings for advertising. So it's just it's different in that sense. But people always want to know who's watching. I can tell you way back when I used to be on more and on posting and doing different things on, I can tell you it's been a while, but way back when I would be or I was recognized just for, oh, I saw you on TV. Or did I see you on? I recognized at church once, at the casino once, at the grocery store, and that was so fun because the guy who saw me let me know that I looked shorter than I did on TV, and it was very, very fun. And you just smile and laugh, and that's kind of how people were watching, that way back when. And again, hub channels are non-commercial, and we don't do and I can go over some of that at a later time if anyone's more interested as far as underwriting and commercial, because we do have folks that come on and talk about their craft or what they do or their profession. But there's a line that we don't cross as far as the commercial aspect of it and a call to action. So that's usually when we say non-commercial, we'll call to action. As far as our funding goes, since I'm touching this briefly, we are funded through cable franchise fees. So that's compensation that the franchising agency, so Comcast and AT&T, they pay to put their cables in our roadways and our streets and use the rights of ways, the sidewalks. So they then put a fee onto the bill. So if any of you have Xfinity or AT&T, you can see on your bill, there'll be a peg fee and then a franchise fee. And that fee goes to the city, and the city then, in turn, gives that to CT. And that's how our budget is established. So we have a 5% and a 2%. And as you can imagine, over the years, as people cut the cord and go to cable and go to streaming and YouTube TV and different types of, so many different ways to watch TV and shows and everything, we have definitely felt it. So it's considerably, that's a big issue that we are dealing with and trying, we, meaning the industry here, all of our centers have felt it greatly. Well, we have too. Fortunately, we're on the better side of it, but we definitely every year we feel the pinch. So, when people cut the cord, it definitely hits us. But we just, we stay positive and do the best. And then so far, so good as far as CTN and our community. We just do our best. As far as our staff, right? So we've got 8 full-timers and 1 and management, producers, programmer, and a trainer. We are a part of the city of Atlanta's communication department, which is also important to communication. And throughout the year, we'll have about 3 or 4 temps. So we call them temporary production staff that we hire on throughout the year, and they're on 9-month rotations. So they're a huge, huge help and a great stepping stone to the industry too for folks to come in and learn behind the scenes in media production and TV production. Even some folks, come into it with a film background or radio. So it's really interesting that all the folks that we've met over the years who come in and work for CTN and then go about their time. Same with interns, right? So I've been doing the internship program for many, many years, and we don't have as many over since post-COVID world, but we've got a seasonal internship program, and I usually base it on the semester. So it's a winter, spring, summer, and then fall. And I've worked with all the universities, pretty much in almost half of the state. So residency, right? So how do you get to become involved? So we're sometimes referred to a little bit in the sense of like a library, right? So you got the public library, and folks can use your card and go into the library and check out, A, B, C, and D. Well, we're similar to that. However, you do have to be a resident of the city of Ann Arbor to use the facility or a nonprofit. So I've had nonprofit folks from all over the trade who may send their staff for training and because they're doing something in media and they're a nonprofit and they have a message that they want to get out, whether they're headquartered in Farmington Hills, Sterling Heights, or Dexter, it doesn't matter. But you need a letter on file, and we have the template, and then you're able to use a facility in terms of equipment, studios, audio, in that regard. So residency verification is pretty simple. It's, we simply look at the light driver's license, you say before, we put that into our database, and then you're part of CTN. And again, volunteering, same thing, as far as nonprofits, right? So you'll be able to fill out a letter, state those who are going to come use CTN's services under the NPO, and we keep that on file for a year. And you'll get MCM, Media Center Manager, so that's our program that keeps all of our clients in the database, and we'll send out notification, updates. You'll get notified your residency may be up or something's going on at studio. So that's how I like to communicate with our clients, is through MCM. Meeting coverage, right? So we have a staff of 8 plus our part-timers. We will cover over 200 meetings a year for the city of Ann Arbor. Majority are live, not all. And then we again do the stream on our website and stream on YouTube. If we have conflicting 2 meetings on the same night, one of them may get shuffled over to channel 19. So that one's streaming live on 19 and one's streaming 16 because they're all on 16. But again, if it's conflict or something with scheduling, then we'll bump one to 19. And if for whatever reason it doesn't go on 19, it will then be uploaded to our YouTube the following day if it's not. The majority are live, but we always have it on pretty promptly the following day. We also record, in addition to the 200 meetings, we'll record special meetings. And these are some of them over the last 2 years that we've not necessarily recorded. It just depends if it's been recorded and given to us, or they ask us to come out on site to record a special meeting. So every year it just fluctuates on what's going on. And again, and also all of experimentation and other the Board of Education meetings. So we cover all of those, and then the schools I believe they put that on their own website. So we record it, they carry our feed, and then they put it on their website. Oh, sorry, it is also on YouTube. So it's on both. So folks have the option of watching both and getting a completion of another meeting or meetings. we no longer carry, they now cablecast those themselves. So programs and partnerships, so I mentioned we do a lot of nonprofits as well as partners. So these are some of the events that we cover over the year along with the meetings and programs. So the Santa Common show, we do that live once a year. It went to Zoom, so Santa would Zoom in with the kids as opposed to coming into our studio, which we did for many, many years. And all of those shows are honored. Candidate comments, which I mentioned, we do candidate election years. Legal Women Voters, so that's they do their own programming and then alternative speaking, as well as we've also had hosted things in our studio as far as them hosting, producing, and then we do all the legwork behind the scene and produce it in our studio. And of our art fair, I'm sure everyone's familiar with that. So over the years, we have been down there well before I got to CTN. We would have a booth. Post-COVID world, we decided to flip the script a little bit, and we are now down at the art fair with our cameras roving. So we talked to the patrons, we talked to fair goers, we talked with the artists. So now we're kind of doing man on the street interviews, and we found it we get a lot more coverage. Both ways are super fun, super enjoyable, but I think from a student staff perspective, it just makes more sense to be out on the street talking to folks with our cameras and our lights. The Ann Arbor Rec and Ed kids, so we've done the last 3 or 4 summers, we've done media camps in the summer at CTN. We'll have 2 weeks of media camps, and it's a program we partnered with the Rec and Ed. And we've got, last year was half days. We switched to half days. We found that 8 hour days and 7 hour days for the kids were long. So we switched to half days, but the kids will come in for a week and learn how to put a program together in studio and also out in the field. So those have been very successful in the fall days. And we also cover all the high school commencements. So every year we cover the 5 high schools, and we'll cover their commencements, and we record them and then put it in post, a little bit of post, and then we put them on YouTube and on our channel. And we also partner with the Community Resource Program, right, with Ann Arbor Public Schools, if you're not familiar with that. So we have 2 to 3 students per semester in the CR program. So they come, they meet with one of our staff, and they're basically like your last, before you graduate, you're going to do a class, right? Something offsite. So kids have picked us as their offsite, where they want this last class because media or video or editing is in their, educational, what they're looking at, studying. So we have done, we've done the community resource, maybe even longer. So again, we'll have 2 to 3 students per semester that are working in CTN. They'll come, show us their program, check out our equipment, and then they go do their project, and then we basically are kind of like their instructor teacher. So these are some of our regular produced programs I mentioned. So these are what us, the staff, produce on the regular, and that could be quarterly, annually, not too much more than that, but monthly, and then our FYI show, the weekly news magazine, that's weekly. So I host a show called Adventures in Parenthood, and we do that monthly in our inclusive. So we're working with the Commission on Disability Issues, as well as the Disability Network out here in Washington, CTN Sports. So we do that every season. We cover a certain amount of sports themes for the Ann Arbor Public Schools, and those I can tell you get the most hits. So a lot, real popular with programming and our video on demand, and we've seen a lot of hits on sports, especially some of the big football games. We partner with the Ann Arbor Film Festival. We produce a show with them. I think we're going to be 8. Soapbox, I'll talk a little bit more about that, but Soapbox is the 5-minute show where you, the public, can come on, but you don't want to do anything as far as you're not really interested in taking all this workshop. You just want to come on CTN and you want to do something. You don't know what, but you want to do something. You want to be a camera. You've got something to talk about, promote, chess. So Soapbox would be the program for you. We created this program where we do all the labor for scenes and you, which are 5 minutes in front of the camera without having to take any workshop. And we record that once a month at our studio. We got Ward Talk, which is talking with the ward members, the 5 ward members here in Ann Arbor, and we do that monthly on schedules. And then senior moments, we work with the senior center to create great programming for our students. So that's a little bit about a regular program. I mentioned we select channels, electronic bulletin board, 19 and 24/7. These are just some of the examples of the different EBBs that I've gotten. So it could be something as a planning workshop, a fun run. I'll put up things from involving, weather, local events that are coming up for the BBA, that's the Boom Fest. And then we had a regional conference, the Alliance for Community Media, hosted it here in Monroe. So that was organizations such as CTN, was a national organization, and held our regional conference last year down in Monroe. And we put that up because it's open to the public. We didn't take out workshop, but that was just an example. So these are the examples of what would go on the. And again, we can create it or you can create it and submit it. Either way works. Less is more when it comes to screens and time, like this, as far as some folks will get, put it as an ad and they put it on their social media and it's got, everything, that someone will want to learn about. But really, when it comes to TV like this, because of the timing, you want to put less. So if you could just direct folks to a website or call a phone number or an email, that's the best bet when it comes to working with a kind of any type of bulletin board messaging. Is just want to direct people to where they can get more. Because on the screen it's going to be a little bit small. You have to be able to see it as long as you want, as you could if you were scrolling. So our facilities, so I mentioned that we've got studios, production equipment, we have audio booth, editing software, and laptops, and all of this is for folks to check out once you've met the eligibility requirements, and if you're interested. So we have folks that are clients that they've never used our studio, but they know how to edit or want to learn how to edit, or they have a camera and they want to learn, they want to shoot all this great video and they want to put it together and, put it out on their own YouTube channel, or they want to submit it to CTN and they want to learn how to put it together. So we have folks that are interested in one and maybe interested in, they only want to learn one thing as opposed to all of them. So this is what the options are. And also we have this equipment, and if we just need to get brushed up on, how to use a mixer or a light kit, or now you've got your smart device and you shoot video on that, or ring light, or a tripod, or a mini green screen, something. We have all this equipment that folks can check out. They don't need all the bells and whistles. They just need parts and pieces because they may have it on their own. And we found after COVID or during COVID, 2020 and later, that people just went out and bought their own stuff because you couldn't use our facility. We did curbside checkout, but I think people found that it was just easier, more time, efficient to do it on their own. Again, though, we have all this stuff. We want folks to use it, but you know what? If you have your own and you just want to learn more about it, you could certainly bring in your own stuff to our media training. She can certainly help you if she's familiar. She's really good. So odds are that her or one of our producers can certainly help with if you have something of your own and are interested and want to learn more about it. And we just had a one-night workshop. We had 2 last fall on smart devices. And they opened that up to the public. And people came in and bought their devices, whether it was an Android or Apple or a tablet. Didn't matter, but they brought it in and they just wanted kind of like a Q&A. How do you do this? What about this feature, that feature? And I had 2 staff members that were helping folks do that. And again, free of charge, we opened it up to the public, and folks could come in and do that with their own equipment or their own devices. These are the workshops that I mentioned. So these are our standard workshops: the remote, studio, outline, and editing. So these are what actually we have a studio refresher coming up, and those are for people who've already been trained. And then we're going to have a new, actually, we haven't had it in about 4 years. We're going to have a actual studio course, hopefully in June, for people who've never taken it and have interest, because we now have a waiting list. Kind of fell off there for a while. People just interested in taking up cameras, shooting their own video, and then editing it home or with one of our lectures. We have a we teach on. And again, if you're a professional, if you have experience, we have also had folks come in and test out. So we're not going to make you sit through a few, weeks of, training. You're able to test out if you feel you're comfortable to use our gear. You're able to do that if have done any type of training. So once you do take our workshops or you become certified, you're now considered a public access community producer. And these are some of the responsibilities if that happens. So we like to make you aware that you're then considered as a volunteer. I will call you a CTN volunteer. A committed producer, so you're now the owner of whatever you're producing. You're the owner of your content. We don't pre-screen, we don't pre-censor, and we don't gatekeep any of your stuff. So if you've got something and you would like us to take a look at it, you have a question about it, maybe it's questionable or you just want our opinion, of course we would do that for you, but technically we're not going to be watching your stuff saying you can't play that, you can't do that. Basically, channel 17 is, like I said, your channel. So you're going to be putting on what you would like to put on, signing the paperwork, saying that you're taking the responsibility for whatever it is that you're putting on. And that could be a wedding reception you've recorded, your kid's birthday party, and you put that, show the community. You can certainly do that. You just know you're taking responsibility for whatever it is that we're about to play on Channel 17. Generally, folks will put on more educational programs, entertaining programs. If you do something with the questionable language, there's a box check on the form or the cable cast form, and you're going to say, yeah, play this after. Maybe you don't want to, but we might guide you in that direction. And also if there's any questions as far as the no commercial content or something, or call to action, ask us. A lot of people will say, well, I want to donate to this nonprofit or this organization, or I have a website that's going to take me to look at a book to maybe purchase. We understand that, and that's kind of known throughout this industry that you're going to put that information out there. You're just not going to tell people to please go do this, please go buy this. Tell them you saw it on CTN. That's what we don't understand. But we understand there's going to be, donations and fundraising, and that's okay. But again, if there's any questions, just ask. And by all means, we will let you know. And also with copywritten music, that's a whole thing. So if you've got a program and you really want to use a popular song, you're probably going to want to get permission to do that. Then you can certainly do that directly too. We have all of our policies and procedures on our website. If you go to workshops on the left-hand side of the website, you'll be able to scroll down that PDFs just to become familiar. And it has a whole section on underwriting. So if you have a program and your local business gave you some funds or donated something and you want to give them credit on screen, you would just check the box for underwriting. But again, all of this kind of comes with if you've got a program determined. So it's a little bit down the way, but I've always been. And again, if you're going to submit a program, so you're not interested in taking anything, you're not interested in our facility, but you're interested in our channel. This is where you're going to submit the program. The program is already ready. Melissa, I want to turn this in tomorrow. We're going to get you established as far as you being a resident or not a resident, and you have a program that you would like the community to see. We can help you find someone in the community to sign for it, and they would then, kind of be a go-to as far as they're signing the forms, they're going to be in our database, so they're kind of taking that from you if you have a program and you work with them. But in order to turn in a program, you do have to be a resident of the district of city proper. So someone, who lives in Scioto and has an Ann Arbor mailing address, you're not within the district of the city, sorry to say the city. And we have a map on our website that outlines where that is, where the boundaries are. So I should mention that too. It's on our website. It's there. I think it's under some program. So you're going to want to establish residency, fill out the application, they'll turn the application and your program in digitally to us, hopefully, about the same time. And then from there, Craig will take it, he is our program, and he will take it from there as far as next step of when it would be. We'd like to say 2 weeks, just right around there. Some people, for something timely, we definitely would be ahead of that. We know that, the program can pick up the 2 weeks for this schedule. And then we also submit our schedules to Comcast for our digital guide. So that is on the guide as well. So we have to do everything kind of in advance, as opposed to a lot of folks who will say, well, I can put this on YouTube in an hour or 15 minutes. Well, it's a little different for TV because we're scheduling, right? We've got the programs we're scheduling. So, and again, it's different. There's something different about saying my program's on television versus YouTube. Anyone can put something on YouTube. It's a little different when you're able to tell someone, yeah, check my program on channel 17, Wednesday at 8. I mean, it's really rewarding and it's super fun, especially when folks are able to do it and you get to promote it and so your program is going to get into whether it's on the internet or on the conference, it's still fun. So questions and contacts, if you have anything, you can, reach out to myself. Jamie is our multimedia instructor, and then Craig is our programmer. So you'll probably talk to Jamie or Craig first. And I'm thinking if you have interest in CTN, you can also subscribe on our website. You'll see on our homepage, if you go to the right-hand side, you'll see an option to subscribe to announcement update or channel premiere. So I send that out every week. Everything is premiering the next week on all 3, 4 of our channels. And then we have a public access Facebook group, which isn't as active as Owens was, but that's certainly to join the Facebook group. And that was it for my presentation. So I think the next step, if you are interested in becoming involved with CTN, and whether it's taking a workshop, submitting a show, we have an EVB, you can just email me and I will definitely get you into guide you into the next step. So questions I've got, oh, okay. So, oh yeah, the CTN offers summer mini camp for youth. So when, yeah, so I did mention this, might have been typed in earlier when the post started. Yeah, we do have the 2 weeks every summer that we do. And again, it fills up so quick. I think it was like within a couple of weeks, if that, and the one summer, I think it was in a matter of days. But the age, so we do have an age. So it's the age limit, I think it's 12 and up. And if it's 10, we 11, I probably should put my license. So we don't get that many, but the camps are, I think we've capped it at 11. I think I'm with 11 to 14. Because they're with our staff the entire day. And the younger, it's just been a little too difficult. So we definitely had to put a cap on the age. But yeah, we do offer the camps. Again, it's just twice a week because we're taking up the whole studio for a week. So we give our staff notice and the public notice, like, hey, we can't use our studios for, this week or that week. So we definitely give. And again, everyone's always so accommodating. It's usually not a problem because we don't, like I said, we do. And someone wrote thank you. Well, thank you. Yeah, it was interesting. So yeah, again, any questions? Contact me, and I will guide you into the next step. I think that was it. So for me,
Yeah, if anybody has any last minute questions, go ahead, throw them in the chat. Melissa has her contact information. We have it on the web as well. And everyone at CTN is super nice. They are definitely willing to get you to where you need to go. So, um,
We try.
I don't see much else coming up. So, Melissa, thank you so much for joining us and telling us all about CTN. I work with them very, very closely because of boards and commissions, and I'm very, very grateful. So they are really, truly awesome people.
Yeah, and I should probably mention too, yeah, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel and get updates. So you'll get, if you subscribe to different channels, you know that you will get an update if something goes live. I do. I think you have the option of turning that off, but if a meeting, if you're interested, a meeting will go live, you'll be notified. The such and such commission or city council meeting has started. So that's, people tend to like that. I know it helps me when I want to put things out. I'm not, if I'm not at the meeting, but I'm doing something else and I know that I need to send something out via Twitter or whatever it is, but I know it's very helpful. So we'll always like to encourage people to subscribe. And then the way you'll know if a new show goes up as well.
Yes, definitely. And YouTube will be one of our resources when all of the Community Academy recordings go up. We put them on YouTube and everything. Melissa knows that I am behind on that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh, you are. Yeah. I make a playlist and everything. Yeah, you need to get those videos to me.
I will definitely get them to you very, very soon. But in the meantime, thank you so much, and we'll hear from you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks. All righty, let me go ahead and insert some of the people that are going to be talking to us next.
Good evening, Sarah.
Hello. Um,
Hi, Sarah. I can't turn my video on. Is Dave or Jen not here yet?
um, I saw Jen. One second.
There's Dave.
Dave.
Hello. I can't turn my video on either.
Why? What am I doing wrong? IT, tell me.
Save the day, Jen. How do we turn on our video?
We nicely ask our host Sarah to allow it.
Oh, oh,
Or
oh,
she can make me a co-host and I can help.
there. I can do that for sure.
All right, we should be able to do it now, guys.
All right, see Jen. I still can't.
Yeah, good. I'm good. I guess me and Dave are not ready for prime time.
Nope. In the background.
That's all right. I didn't brush my hair.
I don't know why this is happening.
Do you need to click on each of them and give them the allow?
If I make them all co-hosts, does that help?
If you want to make me a co-host, I can see what's going on.
That I did. Oh no, you are.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there's
All
Marcus.
right, cool.
And here I am.
Okay, sick. Amazing. Thank God. Okay, I will quickly introduce everybody, but they're also going to go into depth whenever they get to you. So this is some of our IT department, Jen Grimes, Tom Shuchek, Marcus Davis, and David Harris. They are all in different parts of IT, and they're going to go over all of those parts with everybody. So yeah, if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A box, and they will be able to get to them. Whenever they decide. And it's all y'all. So whenever you're
Thanks,
ready.
Jen. Jen is going to share the presentation.
Let's see here.
There we go.
How is my right thing showing? We look good?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Tom Suchek. I'm the IT director for the city of Ann Arbor. Jen, would you like to go to the next slide, please? Okay, so the IT department exists of about 27 employees. We might get to hire a few more employees this year, which we dearly need. IT is a central service, so IT services everybody. Unlike some departments that kind of do their own thing, we provide support for everybody in the entire organization. And we consist of 5 teams. The reason we have different teams is because technology these days is really, really complicated, and it's really difficult for everybody to know everything. So we break up our teams into a networking, and Dave Harris is going to present in a little bit about what they do. Our infrastructure and cybersecurity team, and that's Jen Grimes, and you're probably familiar with cybersecurity. But Jen and her team are responsible for all the stuff that are in their data center in the back room and trying to keep us safe from hackers and whatnot. Marcus Davis will present, and he is in charge of our help desk team. And there, Joshua Barone, who's in charge of our applications delivery and business intelligence team, is not going to be with us tonight, but I will present on his behalf. Same thing with Kevin Iyer, who's in charge of our enterprise application and change management team. So I'm going to turn it over to Dave so you can start learning about what IT does.
Thanks, Tom. Hi, everybody. My name is David Harris. I'm the network manager for the city. My team supports all aspects of the network connectivity, the physical security, and the voice over IP phone system. We also ensure that the city's network is running, is secure, and operating at full potential with minimal downtime. The network team has many responsibilities, as you can see, so we'll jump right in. On the fiber optic network, fiber optic cables connect all of our city locations, buildings, and traffic control. These cables can be as short as a couple of feet, connecting devices that are right next to each other. They can be miles long, connecting locations across the city. I can't even tell you how many miles of fiber we have connecting all these locations together through the city.
40 something so far.
40 something. On the network connectivity portion, we have a core network, which is redundant resilient, which means that if we have a fiber cut or one of our core switches goes offline, they will take alternate paths to stay on, so the network self-heals kind of, and nobody knows anything is happening. At the edge of the network, we have the end user connectivity. We have about 300 network switches throughout the city. These network switches provide connectivity for the end users through the computers, printers, wireless access points, and other type of devices that we use. On the wireless infrastructure side, wireless access points provide connectivity for employees and citizens, kind of just like you have in your homes or your own offices that you work at. Whether you're in City Hall or Justice Center or one of our other locations, we provide wireless network for the public connect to access the internet. These wireless access points also provide connectivity for our employees to access to secure an internal network. The other type of wireless network that we have are point-to-point. These point-to-point networks provide a network connectivity for locations that we are unable to run fiber to. So those locations can still access our internet and our network, but without having the fiber optic cables run to them. Physical access. Badge readers protect our city locations and our offices from unauthorized access by requiring the person to have a badge with the appropriate permissions applied to it to access the door. This also prevents unauthorized access to keep our employees safe and our locations secure. And on the video surveillance side, we have a system that we installed that has cameras in certain facilities to monitor those facilities. It's an effective tool on keeping those facilities safe and our employees and buildings and records safe. So the voice over IP phone system, my team supports all aspects of the phone system, including setting up the phones, configuring call trees, call routing, voicemail, and all the servers that run the system. So we have a lot of responsibilities, and we tend to stay up with it pretty good. So.
Okay, great. Jen, I think you're up next. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, so my name is Jen Grimes. My title is Infrastructure and Cybersecurity Manager. So myself and my team of my group, our core responsibilities are about overseeing and maintaining the servers for the city. That has grown quite a bit over the years. We have a variety of different applications that we run to support either the citizens directly or to support the other service units throughout the organization and their efforts to support our citizens. So there's a lot there. That looks like a server architecture where we are largely a Microsoft Windows organization. And nowadays in the server space, it's less about physical hardware and it's more about virtualization. So nowadays it looks like a lot of VMware hypervisor for us. We also do application virtualization, and what that can do is help simplify things like not deploying complicated software to our end users, but we can deploy it to a central server infrastructure. Lets us do better availability, less disruption to the users on their computers, desktops, laptops, those kind of things. We also oversee things like storage and backup. Nowadays, your server environment typically is going to have a large centralized, instead of like a single hard drive that you might go buy from Best Buy, we're going to have large systems that are called storage area networks, or SAN. So that will give us lots of terabytes to store things from court video or to the video in the trucks that Public Work uses to check things like sewers. Video is one of the toughest things that we have to support throughout the organization. The video for all of Dave's security cameras that he was referencing, that's a huge footprint for us as well. Backup is one of the unsung heroes of the organization because it's incredibly important that we protect all of our data. And it's not just about running backups, it's about verifying those backups, because I can say I back things up all day long, but if someone needs a restore and we can't produce it, that could be very severe for the organization. Nowadays, when you talk about things like cybersecurity threats, we hear about ransomware and bad actors. And we want to make sure that we have good, reliable backups so that if we were ever to have security threats, we can restore the data. And typically that's where those type of threats can really be a hazard to the organization, is if the threat gets in and they can't go to backups to help them recover. Printing is another area that my team supports. In this day and age, I'd love to say that everything's digital, but obviously so much of the world still runs on paper, whether we're printing receipts for somebody that's walking up to customer service or just different printouts for people for their job at their desk. That's a large infrastructure. My team oversees the PC deployment. So what that looks like is us providing a centralized solution that the help desk will use to hand out computers to staff, so that someone isn't spending hours installing each piece of software, but they're getting a standardized deployment that comes right off kind of an assembly line ready for them to give to users. Nowadays, we run some things on premise still, and some things we like to run in the cloud. Running things in the cloud can cut down on our administration time. When a big organization like Microsoft is running things for us, they can provide a lot better redundancy and high availability than we could do in a cost-effective manner. So paying for those services can often make good sense and help us give our time back to other activities. And I oversee our data center logistics. So it's things like keeping the room protected for heating and cooling, keeping the room protected for power with what we call a UPS, which is an uninterruptible power supply. That way, in the event of utility outages like DTE, the data center can stay up and running and continue to support all of our staff. Some of the other things that my team looks at in terms of cybersecurity is we're always looking at reducing risk. So risk mitigation is a huge thing for us to consider to help make sure we're keeping the environment as safe as possible. We do train our staff on cybersecurity. It's one of those love and hate things that we have to do. We do training for employees as they come on. We do annual refresher training. We also test them with phishing emails. So, bad guys send out nasty emails all the time. We send out lookalikes and we want to help make sure staff doesn't fall for them. If they do, they might get some extra training to help make sure we can keep them safe. Nowadays, it's always real critical that a username and password isn't sufficient to keep our data safe anymore. So we have to look at things like multi-factor authentication, so we know that it's really Marcus signing in and not some bad guy who has Marcus's password or tried to guess Marcus's password. Antivirus and malware software is obviously a huge part of keeping us safe. And nowadays, the next generation of antivirus is called EDR or XDR, and that's like extended detection and response. One of my team's informal mottos amongst ourselves is all we do is upgrade stuff and migrate stuff. And along with that goes our patching. Threats come out all the time, and we have hundreds of pieces of software that we're constantly releasing the latest patches for to stop threats. And one of the newer paradigms that we adhere to is zero trust security, which is that you really shouldn't have, we expect you to have no access, and then we think about what access you actually need to give you as little as possible without giving too much and risking security threats by overgranting access. And that is it from me. So I will hand off to Marcus on the help desk.
All right, Marcus, Marcus, thanks, Jen. But Marcus, before you go, so Dave's team and Jen's team, they work very, very closely together. A lot of stuff that's in the closets, the things that you don't see, they keep stuff up and running. They constantly monitor our network. Oftentimes they're the first ones that know when something goes down. And when it comes to a cybersecurity standpoint, almost everything that we do in the organization is vetted through Jen's team and Dave's team for security before we go and deploy it. Because you've probably heard about cybersecurity events that go on out there. They are relentless, and they just and it's a tremendous amount of work to try to keep us safe. And I want to put this, I want to say one thing that I usually say when we talk about cybersecurity. There's no way that we can stop from getting hacked in our organization. But what we do is we know we're going to get hacked at some point, but it's how we can recover from it, and the great work that these guys do for us to be able to recover from it if it in fact does happen. So anyways, just wanted to share through a few thoughts there. All right, Marcus.
All right. So in order for all these complex functions to happen, Dave's team, Jen's team, Kevin, Josh, and Tom, it has to be a front line, a starting point, and that'll be us here at the help desk. We do the day-to-day support of the computers, the thousands of computers and printers, devices, phones, iPads. We take the incoming calls and emails, and now online chats of systems like Microsoft Teams, the actual help desk tickets that come in directly from the end users, or if they call in and we translate it into tickets. And all of that management of the desktops and the user environments really ultimately boils down to the fact that we're ambassadors for the city staff to the rest of the IT team, because they are they're trying to do their job day to day. Like if you're a mechanic, or you're in the sewer truck, or you're at the customer service and you're processing parking tickets, you're a police officer in the car with the Axon body camera. You're just doing your job using the equipment, and you kind of just want to keep doing your job. And we are the people that try to take that day-to-day usability of what they're trying to do with the software and the hardware, and understand the problem, understand the challenge, and then turn it into a solution for them, or get that detailed information up to the teams that can actually process that and handle it in a larger scope. Someone might say, oh, I can't print. And we're like, okay, well, let's take a look. And we tried to use that rapport that we've been building for all the days and years that have passed, and find out that it's not just them, it's the next person. Then we're like, oh, So it's not just that printer. Let's collect as many pieces of information, put it together, reach it up, send it to Jen Grimes. And Jen's team is like, oh, we have a printer issue. So then they can work on it on a systemic enterprise level. And ultimately, that's what we do every day. We are building that rapport, talking to the end users, working on the software, busting out the screws and wrenches, and adding hardware, changing monitors, unjamming printers, finding cables. And if someone says the Wi-Fi is down, you deduce, is the Wi-Fi in the whole building down, or did they turn off the Wi-Fi on their laptop? Or maybe their laptop has coffee in it. We have to figure out where that came from and help them. So it truly is the first moment, the moment of grace that we have to help the end user get past the challenge and into a solution and capture that. And that's ultimately what our team does. It could be technical, but more it's a soft skill of just learning to be with people and talking in their language. We also do all the purchasing. Central service, as Tom said, was ultimately if you need that software, you need that computer, you need a printer, copier, paper, almost everything, we are going to purchase it, and manage those vendor relationships for you. The city staff has enough challenges from their day-to-day of just their primary duties that we try to remove technology as one of those challenges. And that is really ultimately what the help desk is for.
Okay, thanks, Marcus. Yes, a couple things. Like Marcus said, they're the front lines for problems that come into the organization. And the thing is, first and foremost, we're in the customer service business, and that is our main focus to make sure that our customers are productive. So, in other words, when issues and problems come into the organization, we gauge: can somebody do the work? Can't they do the work? And then we prioritize things based on that. Because nothing's more frustrating than people not being able to do their work. And this team, these three people, provide all of the infrastructure and the networking and support to be able to keep people productive. Stuff does go down occasionally, but they do a great job of doing that. And then when it comes to our help desk does a great job. They support a lot of people. We do a lot of calls, but the PCs and the computers are some of the most complicated devices that we have in the organization because there's so many components in them and there's so much software running on them. It's really difficult sometimes to get everything to work together. Plus, we get a lot of updates that come from vendors now. And since the pandemic, it's been very, very challenging because companies will change software on us without us knowing about it that will cause problems in the organization. So this team right here is really responsible for responding to those, making sure that we fix issues as quickly as possible because it does get very, very complicated. So thanks, Marcus. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about the applications delivery team. Josh Barone is the manager of that, and the purpose of the team is to support our key business areas and the applications that are in those key business areas. I'm going to talk mostly about some of our larger applications, but we have, Jen, 230, 250 applications in the city that we have to support. And so it's quite a task because some people don't realize how complicated the city is because it's like 40 different business units with 200 something applications that we have to support all the time and keep everything up and running. So it can be challenging. So we have liaisons in Josh's team that are assigned to departments, and they work with those departments on a daily basis to make sure that their applications are functioning and everything is working. And that our goal is to, when we have the opportunity, to make sure that we bring the best of breed applications in the organization so they all work together as seamlessly as possible so people can be productive. And so the primary responsibilities of these application specialists are to make sure that they do systems and software implementation. So when we get a new application, they're heavily involved in speccing it out, getting the requirements from the customer, working with the customer, understanding what their needs are before we purchase an application. Then they work with vendors. Like I said, 200, we probably work with 300 different vendors in the organization, but we always have issues. We always have problems. And we have to work with the vendors often to help resolve problems. Business process improvement. So even though we are the IT department, probably 50% of the work we do in IT happens on the operations side. And so what that means is we look at the business operations first and the needs first, and then we put the tech to it afterwards. So it's very, very important that we do that. And our applications delivery team, among other people in the organization, really focus on the business opportunity first, and then we put the IT to it later on. And like I said, half of our job is doing that in the organization. It might be a little bit different than other IT departments, but so we also do project management. So typically the application specialist will project manage, especially large implementations, bring them into the organization. Systems integration is huge. So when we do buy applications, we look at all the other applications that we have, all the other systems that we have, and we try to find something that fits in, something that collaborates and talks with other applications that allow us to do workflow and allow us to become very, very lean from an operational standpoint and really increase productivity for our users. And then custom development when necessary. We really do not have coders or developers. We do scripting and things like that. We will do a little bit, but we'll do custom development, or we will farm out customer development to other contractors. And then our business intelligence platform, reporting and metrics. This is something we put in place a few years ago because of data, because of AI, and all the information that is out there. The goal of this group is really to make sure that we become a data-driven decision-making organization. And the IT department has business analysts and data analysts in place to be able to provide metrics. So our departments, metrics and KPIs and dashboards, so our departments can make informed business decisions. So internally, as far as the applications delivery team, some of the applications we have one is called CityWorks. CityWorks is our maintenance management application that our public services unit uses, one of the largest applications we have in the city. So basically, it's creating work orders to go out and service the city in all different aspects. We support our finance department. Our application is called Logos, and the human resources department, we use UKG in the organization. We support them. Our safety services, police and fire, we support all of the technology along with the help desk. We support all the vehicle technology, so all the in-car computers, the in-car cameras, the body-worn cameras, all of that stuff is supported. The records management system and computer-aided dispatch system, the CAD system for the police department and the fire department, we help support both of those as well. Same thing with the legal department, resource planning, our inspections unit, do a lot of inspections in the city, support them. Water treatment plant and wastewater treatment functions and departments, we support those. And our capital improvement. So you might see on our website a lot of the projects that are going on, the capital improvement projects that are going on. We help support them and the applications that allows them to manage that. Externally, we obviously deal with the state of Michigan. We deal with the federal government, Chase Bank, and among other payment services. When you do a transaction with the city, you will see that transaction eventually go to a payment service if it's one of our applications. So we do not subscribe to PCI or anything like that. We don't handle sensitive data. We don't handle credit card numbers, things like that. We send it out to a payment service and let them handle all of that. The golf course, probably the most important application in the entire city. No, just kidding. For our golf course point of sale system, we support that. and benefit providers. We deal with them a lot, and we do a lot of integrations with them. So we move data back and forth between our HR systems, our payroll systems, and as opposed to doing things manually, we write integrations to be able to send nightly data exchanges between those applications to automate the transfer of information. And then obviously we deal a lot with outside contractors. Now, from a public and citizen support, we have our new land management and permitting system is called Stream. That was installed a couple years ago. And it replaced a system that was here for over 10 years. Our utility billing or Cogsdale system is something that we support as well. Parks and Recs class registration. So if you go onto the website and the Parks website, and we support that application that allows you to register for classes throughout the year. Legislative management or Legistar or e-comment. So our it's called our Granicus software. The meeting agendas, boards and commissions, things like that. We support that. A2 Fix-It is our reporting system for problems throughout the city. And sometimes it's also known as C-Click Fix, but that application is available to download to a mobile device. And if you're out and about in the city, what you can do is you can report a problem. It goes into A2 Fix-It, and then it's given to the appropriate department based on what the problem is. So if you see a pothole out there, or you see a street light out or something like that, you can log that call into A2 Fix-It. Again, do a lot of licensing, support that. The golf course tee times, that application that allows them to do it. Yardi is an application that our Housing Commission uses. So a Housing Commission has a very robust application that allows them to manage all of their locations. Water consumption, and A2 Open Book is something, all of our financial transactions are put on our website in A2 Open Book. So you can go in, you can see everything down to the penny of what the city is spending, what departments are spending, and whatnot. So you get a lot of detail there. And then again, I talked about business intelligence before. This has really taken off. We have just a big queue of people that are wanting data and information. We have a ton of data in the city. And this team has just been knocking out a lot of dashboards, KPIs for our organization. There will be our website we're working on a project right now that will feature this data. I don't know exactly how it's going to look at this point, because again, if you go to look and find data on a website, sometimes it's a good experience, sometimes it's not. But we're working on really taking all of the great work that everybody's doing, all the data that everybody's doing, and trying to get it out on the website so people can go see what's going on. So they don't have, and the goal here is really, so we don't have to, answer a lot of questions from you guys. Hopefully there's a place you can go see and exactly what's happening and what's going on. So that's kind of the goal of that. And this service in the city, this is something that will just continue to grow and grow and grow, because everybody is just data hungry these days. All right, so the next team is the enterprise applications team, and Kevin Iyer is the manager. And Kevin Iyer's team, he has GIS engineers on his team. And in our organization, our GIS people, they are in many departments, but the enterprise application team really provides the governance for collaboration and making sure that everybody is sharing data and everybody is in sync when it comes to all of our GIS information, because it's extremely important. And the GIS system, the GIS data, allows for spatial views of things. It works very, very closely with our big data or our business intelligence platform too. Because sometimes people like to see pictures. Sometimes it's better to display a picture as opposed to trying to describe something in text, by looking at a map. The enterprise application team is also responsible for our a2gov.org, the city's website. the city's website, if you noticed, recently it changed the look and feel of it. And they are currently working on so the next one is also, they also manage the content of the city. We work with all of our departments. We have web editors, and we are in the process of moving to a new content management system. A resolution just passed, I believe, this on Monday, to engage with the company to look at our content on our website. So that'll be an exciting project, and you can look forward to some changes out on our website. Our website and the content on our website is very, very old, and it's due for a refresh. They also support A2 Central. A2 Central is our city staff internet. So all of the city employees, when they log in, when they go to the web, that they're pointed right towards the intranet, and this has all our internal resources that we need to do our jobs. Enterprise calendaring, you'll see some calendars out on the website, and that's responsibility of this team as well. And again, the enterprise applications team also is heavily involved in business process engineering. They will work with customers, understand the requirements before putting IT to it. So there's a heavy component in that. So then, as far as GIS goes, I'm just gonna kind of gloss over this, but this is really all of our spatial data that's on our city website that's available to you. Planning data, parcels, zoning, really all of the assets. Our goal is really to make sure that we get all of the assets in the city into our GIS, into layers, so we can go ahead and we can produce reports for an individual, a department. But it's really important that if we catalog everything and we put all these assets in our GIS, it just makes it so much easier to do work, because we have a really good, true understanding of exactly where everything is. So if we have to go service something or we have to locate something, it just makes it a lot easier if all of our records are accurate. This is a very daunting task for our GIS team, but they constantly work on cleaning up all of our older data and making it relevant so we can use it effectively in the organization. GIS is a huge component for our departments, along with the business intelligence, the BI platform. So I kind of look at it as just more data. Let's see. All right, so the next one, this would be the a2gov.org website. It's comprised mainly of department sites. So if you want to learn about a department, you're looking for some information about a particular department in the city, you can go to our website. It consists of a lot of maps, a lot of GIS data. There is a data catalog out there that has a lot of information. A lot of it can be static, and we are working towards more of a query-based way of finding information on our website, as opposed to just going to a PDF file or things like that. So we actively work on trying to make things better. So when you go to us, when you go to our website and you're looking for something, hopefully you can type something in that will get to exactly where you're going, as opposed to have to sift through a lot of documents. The one thing that I don't think is on here is that we actively started a project for a chatbot on our website. And the chatbot, it should be implemented hopefully within the next 6 months. But that chatbot is there to try to help people find stuff on our website. It has a lot more capabilities as well, but we're going to start there, and we're working on the implementation of that right now. Let's see. So if you want to look for city codes, our budget book and our budget guide is on there as well. Property assessment information. So public meetings, agendas, and minutes. So if you're looking for a particular meeting within the city, a council meeting or stuff like that, all of that's on there. Public meeting videos. There's an event calendar of things that are going on. Let's see. And then there's planning projects and permits. So sometimes I believe there's some information out there about current CIP and current projects that are out there. And I think you can get a visual look at the progress and where construction and things are going to be happening, because it's construction season right now. So All right, Jen. All right. Let's see. So then other things on the website would be the water bill presentment and payment resources, water consumption data, FOIA requests. We have a form out there. If you have a FOIA request, you can fill out a form. A2 Open City Hall is a place where people can go in and they can start a topic, and you can collaborate with people to see what other residents or citizens or other people are saying about the city. You can we have Everbridge is our emergency alert system that you can go in and you can sign up for it. So if there's something going on in the city in an emergency, you can sign up for it and you can get notified on your mobile devices that something is going on. You can sign up for email notifications. So you have a choice of a lot of different categories where you can get notifications of what's going on in the city. So I would encourage you to go out if you're interested in something in particular to go and sign up for it, and you'll get emails. I get them all the time. Different, if you want to see, our news, things like that, construction projects that are going on, you can subscribe to that. And then again on that, we also have an election day line information, an application that was developed with the clerk's office to be able to see what the lines are in elections. So that is just a sampling of stuff. So that is the enterprise applications team. So the enterprise applications team is they really support applications that the entire city uses, whereas the application specialists in the applications delivery team, their focus is on their assigned departments. All right. So the next thing is talk a little bit about collaboration. We love to collaborate here in the city. There's a lot of advantages to doing it. Washtenaw County, they actually are a tenant in our data center. So all of their systems are in our data center. So from a cost perspective, and because they're just across the street, it's really beneficial to both of us. We could both have data centers in 2 locations and have twice the cost, but we've collaborated over the years, and all of their equipment is in our data center. In addition to that, we collaborate on other softwares such as enterprise content management system licensing. We share an internet connection with them. Well, we collaborate on an internet connection with them and the RIDE or the AAATA, but all of those connections for the internet are located in our data center, and we share the cost on it. And then a couple other applications like GeoCortex licensing and ONSSI, which is a workflow paperless type. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it is the video cameras throughout the city. We share some of the licensing. So again, all of it is designed to be able to save money and collaborate, because if we both have the same stuff, then if we're having an issue, we can call. We have a very good relationship with the county, and we can call across the street and say, hey, you guys running into this, because they have the same stuff. So we're constantly informing each other about what we're doing. And oftentimes we will go ahead and we'll buy the same systems because it's going to be beneficial to both parties. So our data center, we have Washtenaw County, the AAATA, the DDA, the district libraries, AADL, and UMTRI, which is the connected vehicle program that the U of M, the University of Michigan Transportation Research Institute, which is the connected vehicle program. All of the vehicles that are outfitted with that equipment that talk to when the vehicles talk to the vehicles, and when the vehicles hit an intersection within the city, they will upload information. All that information will go to the U of M Research Center, and they use that for research and development of connected vehicle type programs. Okay, Jen, there we go. Okay, so Dave talked about fiber networks. Well, we have 2 fiber networks in the city. One we built in 2017 that consists of a 35-mile backbone around the city. So it goes around the city with a bisector down the middle, and it hits all of the city locations. And then we have about 7 miles of laterals that go to each one of our city locations. There's very few city locations we don't have fiber to. So that was a pretty big build, and actively use that today. We built another network just recently. It's called the Technology Park Network, and it is 40,000 feet of conduit and fiber in the DDA district or the downtown area. And that was just completed a few months back. And that consists of about 4 miles worth of fiber, but it's in a very, very concentrated area. And the reason for that is that if somebody wants to use fiber, and this would typically be a business or an ISP, not residential. We can't light fiber for anybody but the city, and we don't do residential like a Comcast or an AT&T. But the goal here is we call it a technology park because we want people to come into the city and we want them to be able to use that fiber to their benefit, to do research, to support incubators, maybe at Spark. Um, and and there's a whole lot of reasons why that communications is needed, because one of the main reasons people move to an area is because they have to have good high-speed network, a good high-speed network these days, because a lot of people work from home, and so the implementation we did goes up and down the streets of the downtown area, and it will run in front of every single structure in the DDA district. So the goal here is we'll be hooking up the parking garages to it, and we will be actively marketing it for people to use. But the city can only lease the dark fiber. We cannot light it for anybody because of state law. And but it is available for the community. It's available for to enhance the vibrancy of the community and to make sure that communications and high-speed fiber is not a barrier to people staying in the city, or not a reason why they need to leave the city. So, and we want people to come play. That's why we call it a park. All right. And then let's see, I think I did I mention the customers that are on that are we do have one ISP on there, which is Merit Networks, if you're familiar with Merit. All right. Yeah, the RIDE, the libraries, and Merit. So this right here is IT governance. I'm not going to go through it too in depth, but basically you've learned what kind of everybody does, all of the teams, what they do. Well, the most important thing is that all of the teams work together collectively to make sure that we are in sync in supporting the city. So sometimes if we have a problem or an issue, one of our teams will address it. Sometimes it'll be all 5 teams involved, depending on the complexity of the project. But what we do is this IT governance model here, basically, it places the goals and objectives of the city in the middle, in the red part. And then the IT department has a project delivery methodology. We have a technology plan, and we have other elements that go, our mission, our vision, our guiding principles. All of this stuff goes into our decision making and our IT platforms. You know, we just don't buy stuff and put stuff in. We think it through very carefully, and when we purchase something, we make sure that it's all integrated, because this is a system. And if we go outside of that system, it just causes problems. And it's very important to be consistent in the way we do things, but we also have to be flexible and allowing people to think out of the box a little bit and do some things. But things like security, network, stuff like that, those are the things that we vet on every project that comes through, how they integrate with other applications, how beneficial is it going to be to the operations? Is it going to save us money? Is it going to save us time? So we take all of that stuff into consideration. Even if we do a small project, we do it the same way. So this methodology here, this governance model, is extremely important to the integrity of our systems and the way we do business in the IT department. Because if we don't do it that way, we'll have very unhappy customers. Okay, Jen, we have any more? Okay, strategic planning. So one element of that as well is strategic planning. So every 2 years, we sit down with all of our key departments. Well, first of all, we meet with all of our key departments on a regular basis. We talk about issues, projects, make sure we set expectations, and making sure that the IT department and the departments are aligned. And we have a lot of work that goes on. So we have to do that on a regular basis. But every 2 years, we sit down with the departments and we go through and we say, okay, what are your goals and objectives? What are you being held accountable for? What are you going to be doing over the next 2 years? So then we can prepare. And we put a report together that basically is our to-do list for the next 2 years of all what the departments want to accomplish with IT's assistance. Plus, we also talk about stuff that IT might not be involved with, but it's good for us to know. So if we hear something, we can make recommendations. And sometimes the liaisons and the people that we have that work with our department, sometimes they know the systems and the operations better than some of the people that are in the departments. So it's very, very important that we're proactive and we understand what people want to do. And that's why we do the strategic planning with everybody. We put a report together and that helps us plan for the next 2 years. And it acts really as a big, in addition to other things that we do, it really acts as a big to-do list for the IT department and what we have to accomplish over the next 2 years. So typically the last two are typically the initiatives turn out to be between 100 and 120 that come out of these meetings. So, but again, it's our way of just making sure that we're collaborating, we're communicating, and making sure that we're doing what's best for the organization and for the department. So, okay. So some of the challenges that we have in IT, and these really don't change a whole lot. Supply chain issues since the pandemic. Obviously, supply chain issues have been a problem, and of course the cost that goes with it. Things are getting a little bit better. I would say from a supply chain standpoint, they're getting a little bit better. From a cost standpoint, I would say no. Everything is just really expensive. Resource and vendor availability and quality. We have seen a big difference in the quality of services that we receive from contractors and organizations, and we have to deal with it. But they're having trouble finding people and retaining people, and it's just kind of the way it is. But we've noticed that the quality goes down a little bit. So that's all the more reason why we have to do good requirements and planning when we do projects to make sure we mitigate any issues that we might run into. Teleworking, obviously, we are indefinitely are still, we can still work from home. There are obviously some people in the city that have to come in, but for the most part, a lot of people are still working from home, and we have to continue to support that. The fast pace of technology is just, it just goes so fast. It's really hard to keep up. And then obviously cybersecurity is relentless, and it just adds so much complexity and so much time to our work, and it will just continue to get worse. So, okay. I know that was a lot, but do you have any questions for us?
I do see a couple of questions that I can go through that came in while we were talking. Zach had asked, with the increase in data breaches, such as the large breach that happened recently at U of M, what tips can you give community members to be safe as possible when on their workstations and mobile devices? Some things that I would throw out for everybody are, keeping current. I know sometimes, you can look at your Windows 7 computer and think, but it's still running, but, Microsoft is no longer patching that. So it's going to be super easy for somebody to let ransomware and let other threats on there. So keeping current. One of the biggest things that I like to share, and it's something that we offer for staff, is things like a password manager. If you're using the same username and password on your email, on your Facebook, on your bank account, this kind of data gets taken by bad actors and leaked all over the dark web. So if you're using one password on all your sites, they can just start to move and compromise. And if they compromise something like your email address, well, now they can start really moving everywhere else to your bank accounts and anything else you might care about. So that can be super critical. And the other thing is when you're dealing with things like email, is this really an email from Chase Bank? You're looking carefully for things like chase.com. If there's links in the email, do they go to chase.com or do they go somewhere completely different? So finding out those details can really be some of the things that can help keep people safe. Next question from Partha for me was, are the backup and disaster recovery servers located at the same location or within Ann Arbor, or do you outsource to service providers like AWS? We take the data protection incredibly seriously. And to be perfectly honest, if I count all the different places, I can tell you we keep 7 copies of our data. We do keep them physically in multiple locations within the Ann Arbor city limits, and we do use cloud providers because at a certain point, if there was any kind of massive regional disaster, I don't want everything within the city limits if we were to suffer some kind of severe weather event. So we do keep multiple copies. And one of the things that's super big in the industry nowadays is keeping your backup safe from ransomware. So things like immutability, which means the backup cannot be altered or cannot be deleted. And we've recently been able to invest in some newer backup technologies in that storage area network that I talked about, which is like the giant bunch of disks that supports data centers. Both of those products have some really nice protections that, I'm trying to, I never want to say I'm keeping us safe because there's so much bad guys out there, and I can stop 100 threats, and when one gets through, I've failed. But we've got a lot of really good protections in place to help keep us at the forefront of being protected.
Yeah, and one of the premises of our backup is I don't know what the answer will be if we do get compromised. I mean, if we really get compromised, we have to shut everything down. But I'm thinking if we get hit with ransomware, we're probably not going to be paying the ransom. And if that's the case, that's why we have the backups. We will have to start restoring. And we are not a huge organization from a tech standpoint. We're a good size, we're a decent size, but we're not overly, we're not would be considered a large organization. But the thing is that if we do get compromised, we're gonna have to be restoring that data in our applications to get back up and running.
When you hear about different things in the news and so is compromised and whether or not you pay the ransom, paying the ransom's an incredibly difficult subject because what you have to worry about is you can pay the ransom. They may or may not honor that and release your data. But even if they do or do not do that, you don't know that they don't still have backdoors and other threats in your data. So if you didn't have a good backup and you relied on paying them to get the data back, that doesn't mean that you're not still wide open for the next breach because they're still inside. So those kind of things are an incredibly tricky subject to deal with. Our next question from Kai was with regard to desktop laptops and servers, are they on some rotation where every X number of years you replace them with a new one? I'll let Marcus answer the desktop and laptop piece. As for servers, we typically do between a 5 to 8 year life cycle, and a lot of that depends on the criticality of the server, the horsepower of the server, and things like, our warranty and the life cycle that comes from the manufacturer. So that's how I handle the server piece.
For desktops and desktops, because of the nature of the style of how it's manufactured, we are able to add a few more elements to it to extend its life. Laptops are a little less flexible in that manner, but we are partnered to the extended warranty that we get from the vendors that help us mitigate the costs. So the initial purchase of the laptop plus this warranty for any like major repairs, that's how we focus it. So 3, 4, 5 years is depending on the device, that cycle. And then of course, with the new department sustainability, we're looking into other measures because of the carbon footprint of manufacturing and how we can extend the life and save the city money and taxpayers money.
That was it for our questions. I just have a couple other comments that people had given with us. So Zach had said thank you to the white hats within the city of Ann Arbor. So thanks, Zach. And when Tom was going over the long list of applications that Josh's team supports, we got not a question but a comment. That is a ton of software, impressive, and it absolutely is a ton of software. So I'll agree there. And we got a thank you. So thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, but just before we go, unless anybody else has any questions, I want to let everybody know, how proud I am of the IT team. This team, we do a lot with not very many people, and they work extremely hard for you to protect our systems and protect the integrity of our systems. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out. They just do a great job.
They definitely do. I bother them every single day. So I want to thank each and every one of you for coming and talking to us about IT. It really is like one of the very, very important parts of our organization. If they were not here, none of us would be able to do our jobs. So we thank you all so, so much. And thank you for joining us today. And that's going to be it for tonight. We're out a little bit early, so thank you everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Have a great
you.
night, all.
Bye, everybody.